here's what we're making today. The Mini Mallory by Also Petite. This is a great little pattern. It comes together very quickly. I made a double-sided strap for this customer. So it's got the taupe on the one side and the basket weave brown, very dark brown on the other side. Antique brass hardware. You have 2 D-rings for it to connect to. There's nothing on the back except my name tag. Slim thumb lock. You open it up and you have 3 card slots or 3 ID slots or for business cards, whatever you choose. And then you have plenty of room on the inside. My customer chose to have a little slim zipper pouch made. Fits in there perfect. And then the nice thing, I love this bag. You have a little phone pocket or whatever you want to put back there. But it fits an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Big pocket. So then you just close it up. And there you go. The Mini Mallory by Also Petite. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. This is Barbie with Jeannie's Designs. I'm getting ready to do a custom order for someone, and I'm doing the Mallory Mini Crossbody out of some chosen fabrics. And then I'm also going to do a little zipper pouch. Very simple. She just wanted something very simple. Pardon me. So that's what we're going to do, the Mallory Mini. It is so cute. We're doing it out of the basket weave in dark brown and then taupe. And for the lining, we're doing the leopard. And we're doing a 2-tone strap. So I think I'm going to do the little pouch first. And we're doing antique brass hardware. It's going to be really cute. I may have to make myself one of these, you know. I may. So for this little pouch, I am doing, one side is going to be the entire brown, and then the other side is going to be a mix of the brown and the tan. So let me change camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. So this is going to be the center. The 2 brown are going to be on the outside. It mimics the Mallory just a little bit. All right, let's do it. I was going to use number 3 zipper tape, but I decided no. Let's use number 5. I have cuter zipper pulls in number 5. So this, I am going to just splay open my seam and do some top stitching. Okay, perfect. Let's do the other side. And then we'll need to trim this, I think, just a little. Not a big deal. If I was a whiz at math, I would have been able to precisely do the measurements for this, but it's going to be too big. Actually, oh my gosh, it is not. It's going to be perfect. Strictly by happenstance. I love it when a plan works. So I'll give you the measurements for this tiny little pouch. It is, it's meant to be finished 5 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Just trying to make sure this is splayed flat. So the back, I just did a 6 by 5, 6 wide by 5 tall, accounting for the seam allowances. And then these pieces, shockingly, I made each side piece 2 1/4 and the center piece 2 1/2. And then I did a 1/4 inch seam on each side, and it's just perfect. I don't know how that happened, but I guessed. And I got it right. I know my dad would be proud. My dad was a math teacher. All right, so there's my 2 pieces. 6 inches wide by 5 inches tall, and it's going to end up being 5 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Okay, so I'm going to put my zipper on, and right side's down. I'm dropping things left and right. And I'm going to just go ahead and do this at the same time. My lining. So I'm sandwiching my zipper in between, and my fabrics are right sides together. I'm doing a bit of a bobbin dump, so I may have to change my bobbin. Okay, let's top stitch that. There is no pattern for this pouch. It's just little pieces that I'm putting together. Okay, perfect. There's one side. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. And I left my zipper long so I could add my pole afterwards. I just think things turn out better if you can do that. It's not necessary, but things do turn out better only because you don't have any humps and bumps in your zipper. And that's a very technical sewing term, humps and bumps. Okay, let's put our zipper pull on. And I want closing the front. Okay, let's do it this way. Perfect. Now we are just going to put our right sides together. And I'm going to leave a turning hole in the lining. Nothing fancy, but very useful, really. Okay, hold on. All right, let's do it. I'm going to start down here. Just leave a little turning hole. All right, so for the outside, I'm just going to do some trimming so I can get a pretty decent corner. And I'm not going to worry about the inside. I will trim my zipper tape. And let's turn it. These little pouches are so useful. So useful. And punch out your corners. This vinyl, this brown, the dark brown is from Endo Love Creations. And the taupe is from Love Lola. They're not exactly the same basket weave, which is kind of nice because it gives it a little different texture. Hold on. All right, so I got that turned. This is going to be so cute. And I'm just going to close up the turning hole. Put that down inside, and this little guy is done. So useful. Pouches are so useful on so many levels, you know. And I'm just going to punch out these tops. And there it is. The cutest little pouch ever. Simple. All right, next step. All right, so I'm going to do my strap next. And she has two strap ends, which I really like. So this is and I'll do this on fast forward because you've seen straps about 1,000 times. But I'm doing a 2-tone strap. So this side is 2 inches, which is going to be the underside. It takes a little time, but so I'll do it on fast forward. You just fold it, find the center, fold it into the middle on both your bottom piece, which is 2 inches, like I said. The top piece is 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'll do that all on fast forward. All right, so I have my 2 pieces, and I put a piece of 1/2 inch double-sided tape down the center, just so I can keep them together before I stitch them. And I want to get these on nice and even. And then we'll top stitch. The double-sided straps take much longer, you know, twice as long basically. But they just add a nice feature to any bag, personally. I like them. Okay, so that's what it looks like on the front, and obviously the back is just the plain. All right, let's stitch that together down each side. All right, so we're going to do our strap, and I'm going to use a strap end. So I've got my strap end, and I got to find some screws right here. Oops, put it on with the screws in the back. Blob. I need to pound this just a little. Pounding is always a good thing. Perfect. Let's put our screws on. One. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to put that on with just one rivet right there. Okay, you don't need to see me do that. I'll go do that real quick. All right, so I am adding a little extra to this strap. This gal says she's tall, and so I want to give her a little extra room to adjust the strap. So I'm adding a 6-inch piece, and then I'm adding these little tabs. One side is the dark and one side is the taupe. Aren't they cute? So let's just stitch around them. And I did put a little stabilizer in the center. It's not a big bag, but you don't know what people are going to put in bags. So I always will add a little bit of stabilizer. And then we will just rivet these on. Okay, so there's one. Isn't it just the cutest little thing? Let's do this other one. Okay. Cute. All right, so we have our strap that I've started. So I have it up through, I added a rivet here and a strap end up through our swivel clasp, our slide adjuster, I should say. I added a D-ring down here because this 6-inch extender is going to come up and through that, just like that. And then we're going to connect with our swivel clasps. Okay. I know. I just kind of did it, and I thought, I want this to look a little nicer. So I'm just trimming this pretty good so it's nice and even. How about this one? All right, so we'll add a swivel clasp. Just like that. And then I'm going to put a rivet here, and I'm going to put a rivet here. Oh my gosh, that looks so cute. I like it. Okay, let me get all my tools. Okay, so I have my 2 rivets here, and then I'm going to add this connector right here on the end. And I'm just going to put one rivet there, and that will be fine because there's stabilizer in there. So I'm going to center this rivet right here, and we're going to pound and make the hole right there. And then I'm going to mark where it goes on my extender piece. Nice and even. Right there. Oops, I can't see it. There it is. Okay, right there. And then on the other end. I am sure I'm making this much more complicated, but she wanted something specific and I want something to be very nice. So that's what we're doing. Perfect. So that's the extended piece with the little connector. So I'll go press those. And then down here, we're going to do the exact same thing. All right, so here's our strap. It really turned out nice. It just gives little taller people that extra 3 or 4 inches that makes all the difference, really. So that looks good. That's done. Now we're going to take our card slots that are in the front. This is front pocket H. There are 2 of them. And we're going to measure down in what it says in the pattern on this top edge. And I'm doing, I think this is version 2. Yeah, version 2. Add some double-sided tape. And you'll notice I'm not using my tearaway double-sided tape because I've had this Sailrite tape for a long time. And I'm trying to use it up. So we're going to fold those down and then we're going to stitch across the top. We're creating some card slots. This version is only good with non-fraying fabrics. And she tells you that right on the pattern piece. Okay, stitch across the top. Okay, so that's pattern piece H. And then we're going to do the same thing with pattern piece, the bottom panel. Let me double check that. Okay. So now we're going to take our credit card slots that we did the top, or she calls them pockets. Mark up from the bottom on each piece what she tells you to in the pattern. Then we're going to add that 1/4 inch up from the bottom of piece G. And we're going to stitch across that line and then baste the sides in place. And I moved my camera so you can't see what I'm doing. So sorry. On both sides. These will be sewn with another seam, but you're just basting them in place. Okay, so that's what you have so far. Then we're going to add this one, the distance she tells you in the pattern, down from the top of the other one, just like a lot. Okay. And we're going to stitch across this line, which is connecting these two. I know, it's very interesting. Then we're going to baste the sides again. All right, so that's what you have. You have 2 card slots is really basically what they are. 2 card slots right there. Let me turn this down. All right, now we're going to turn this over and we're going to measure another distance down from this seam and mark it. Okay, right there. Then we are going to fold piece, let's see, piece I down at the fold line. So this is piece I, and we're going to stitch it, do some top stitching across the top. Perfect. Then we are going to add this piece that we just did the top stitching, the same distance down from that second card slot. Clip that in place. Then we're going to lift this up, turn it over, and stitch right at that line we marked. I know. Very ingenious. Okay. So what you've done is you closed off that card slot. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so that's what you have. Now, we are going to, again, stitch, just baste these sides so it doesn't move on us when we're putting the whole thing together. Perfect. So let's just test some cards. How about that? There's one. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. There's 2. That's perfect. And there's 3. Perfect. Okay. So before we do anything else, we want to put our thumb lock on here. And you can measure from the pattern piece where it is supposed to go. Okay, let me see if it marked. Oh, perfect. Okay. So I'm going to grab my thumb lock. This antique brass hardware looks really good with this. So I have 2 in here and I only need 1. So let's put it back. Okay. This one is this placement piece. So this is going to go here. So I am going to add an extra stabilizer here. Yeah. Right there. With some double-sided tape. I just want to make sure I'm getting it in the right spot. Let's see. Hold please. Let me mark it on the back here. There we go. Okay. Let me get my tools. Okay. So what I did, this is the piece that goes here, and I just laid it right on here to determine where my marks, my lines are supposed to be. Okay. Thing's dangerous. So I always have to remind myself, this goes in like that. So I want these 2. Oops, it didn't go through. Hold. There it goes. There we go. So these thumb locks go in like this. So I just want to make sure that's nice and centered, and it is. Grab my, I'm going to actually add one more piece. Yeah, one more piece of stabilizer. It's probably not necessary, but I like to have plenty of stabilization there. So one more little piece there. Yeah. Then we're going to add our washer. And we'll fold that in. I got to get rid of my knife. I'm going to cut myself. Okay, I've got some silver markings there that I need to get rid of. Don't leave those. Okay. Now I'm going to pound that just a hair so it's nice and flat. Then I am going to cover that with a piece of self-adhesive fleece, if I can get it. Perfect. So when the flap gets on, that'll come down and go just like that. Perfect. Love it. Next step. Okay, so we need to trim this piece. And the best way to honestly do it, she gives you a measurement, but the best way to do it, it should match these side panels. So I just laid it on there, and we're going to trim it off from the top, not the bottom. Okay, and it's about 3/4 of an inch that you're trimming off. Not a lot, but some. I probably should have done that with a rotary cutter. That was terrible, Barb. All right, so now we are going to add our side pieces. And just FYI, these side pieces are mirrored. I got to get rid of all my tools. And I am adding some fleece out of the seam allowance to these two side panels. I think I am. That's my plan. Yep. There we go. So your piece is mirrored, and your stabilizer or whatever you decide to put in there is also mirrored. And I didn't mirror this one correctly. That's funny, Barb. That's okay. That'll be fine. Just as long as it's out of the seam allowance. You just want a little extra something there. That's perfect. Okay. Now we're going to add this to each side with the curved edge on the outside. And your seam allowance is I think it's the same throughout. I forget what she said. Let me go up here and look. Yep. Seam allowance is the same throughout the pattern. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and we're going to turn that and top stitch. Let me just verify that. I got my pattern right here. It's so nice, you guys. Yep, and we're going to turn that and top stitch on the side panel with the seam going to the outside. Perfect. I'm going to repeat that on this side. It gets a little thick here, so just take your time. Thick on the sides with all the card slots. Just go slow. All right, turn that and top stitch. Oh, this is going to be so nice. Perfect. There's your piece. That's your front piece. Next step. All right, so take your main piece, right sides together. I did add some fleece to this just to give it a little extra something. And we are going to stitch from these. This becomes the flap, by the way. It's beautiful. From here and around, all the way around. So we're going to start on one end and finish on the other with the same seam allowance. Let me do the seam allowance over here. And it's a curved edge, so if you need to mark it, then do it. All right. Now we're going to do some pinking shears. And I don't know where my pinking shears are, so hold on. All right, let's pink shear all this. This really helps you get a nice turn. Just don't cut your stitches. Perfect. I gotta put my pinking shears back where they belong or I'll never find them. All right, so let's turn this right side out. Push that out nice and neat, and then we'll top stitch it in the same place. Now, the one thing that if you need to clip these corners just a little, I am going to clip them just a little bit. I think that'll help, yeah. Perfect. All right, so let's top stitch this all the way around, starting at the same place we sewed it together. Just line your curve. Okay, that looks so good. I'm about to make me one of these. Sorry, noisy. Okay, so on the back here is where I put my tag, and I put it 3 inches up centered. And then we're gonna baste around the rest of this, just 1/8 of an inch, just to keep it where we want it. So just make sure I caught it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Then there's a little excess over here, so I'm just going to trim that out. Your scissors ever get sticky from all the tape? My scissors are sticky right now. Isn't that funny? I'm going to have to use some Goo Gone. Okay, so that's that. Beautiful. Now let me clean my scissors. Okay, so the next step is to take your back piece, and we're going to add this to that piece centered on the bottom. And I'm going to use some different clips. So they are lining side down. And then there is meant to be a little pooch. So over on this side, get it, and on this side. And then just clip it all the way around. Okay, so it's a fairly good pooch. All right, so now let's baste that in place. Thread. Is twisted. There we go. Now we want to just round these corners. Perfect. Okay. Oh my gosh, that just looks so nice. Huh. All right, now we're gonna add our gusset. So for my gusset, and like all my outside pieces, I have added oh, I didn't do it for this. Let me go cut a piece of fleece. I need a piece of fleece for this outside of my seam allowance. So I need it to be 1 inch wide. Okay, let me go cut that. All right, so we're gonna add this to the front piece. I'm gonna find my centers, which you know you should always do first. But I didn't, and that's okay. I did add my piece of fleece just to give it a little something. And then find the center here. And you might as well find it up here. All right, let's do it. Bring that up to the top, and then we'll probably need to clip our corners. I honestly don't remember if I did on the first one I made. I'm sure I did. Let's do it. Just a little. Half your seam allowance. So you need to know your seam allowance, and you don't want to go more than half. That's all it takes too. It's actually surprising to me sometimes how much that helps. That's all it takes. All right, let's do it all the way around. Let me see. Okay. I am adding my D-rings after I do this, by the way. She gives you a suggestion if you want to do it now before you sew, which I think I did on the last one. They didn't really get in the way. Okay. Make sure we don't have any puckers. We don't. Looks beautiful. Let's do our 2 D-rings. So I have my 2 D-rings here. One piece. And I'm folding them in. And I put a little piece. I have used Selpa just because I had a scrap, which is just a leather stabilizer. That's all that is. And we're going to sew down each side. My thread got caught right there. Okay, let's cut that in two. Find our D-rings. And I'm just going to baste the bottom so they don't move around on me on both sides. Okay. I made my D-rings a little bit short. I don't know why, but they're a little short. Very funny. Now I am going to find the center of my gusset. Excuse me. And we're going to add I'm going to add my D-rings now. Excuse me. And I think I'm going to add just a little piece of tape so they stay where I want them until I get them sewn. Probably not necessary, but they're so little that little things tend to move around where you don't want them to. Okay, so the D-ring down, centered. Just like that. And I'm going to clip it until I baste it. Centered. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to add our other, I'm going to go ahead and baste those. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and baste them. Just a few little stitches, just to keep them where they need to be. Perfect. Okay, now let's add the gusset to our outside. Oh, I got to measure my center down here. And before I do anything else, I'm going to get the center of this piece as well. Okay, let's add our gusset. Right side down. It's a small little guy. But you know, this is what people are carrying these days, is small, minimalist bags. You know, they don't really want to have to carry everything with them, which I do tend to do most of the time. So we're attaching it to that back panel. And again, I probably will need to clip my gusset. Always clip, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but you always clip the corners on the straight edge, which is your gusset. in this circumstance. I would say I'm not sure there's a time when I haven't, when I've clipped my rounded piece. It's always the straight edge, which is your gusset. I'm trying to think if there's ever been a time when I've clipped my curved edge. I don't think so. Okay, let's sew that on. Go slow around your corners, smooth out, and make sure you don't get any puckers. Beautiful. This is so cute. All right, I am gonna pink shear my corners down here. Just my corners. On both sides, I'm actually gonna do that. Okay. Then on these top edges, I'm going to clip in about 1 inch down without cutting my seam. And I'm going to base those flat. Not base them flat. Use some double-sided tape. On all 4 corners. Just like that. we're going to repeat that with our lining. There are no pockets on the inside. It's just 2 lining sides and the gusset. And then we will move over to Thor to do the top stitching, the drop in. This is exactly the same way as the outside. Now you could certainly add a pocket in here. It's a very small bag. It really doesn't need it. But totally up to you. So I'll do this on fast forward. All right, so I put tape around the exterior and the lining since I am going to do a drop in. So I'm just going to fold that down, the seam allowance. This is where having those seams taped open really makes a difference. Just helpful. It's not required, but it's very helpful. Okay. So there's our lining. I'm going to repeat that with the exterior. Okay. Beautiful. Now, I gotta go thread Thor until I get Thor threaded and everything ready. I'm just gonna put clips on these corners where it's thickest, where it doesn't always want to stay. All right. Beautiful. So I'm gonna turn this outside, right side out. I probably should have done that before I clipped it, but that's okay. Take your time on this. Depending on your materials, how long it will take you to turn it. And if it takes a hot minute, so be it. Once you get it started, it's fine. This is so pretty. I'm going to make one for me. I don't think we've done this bag live. It is so pretty though. Oh my goodness gracious. So my clips stayed where I wanted them to. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put my lining down in there. And we're going to clip it here all the way around before we go over to Thor. So find your seams. And match your seams. Fold. It might be easier to fold this pocket down inside so you can get to everything. So that'll go down inside that pocket really nicely. Out of your way. Perfect. And then do your other side seams. Everything matches perfectly. If you followed her seam allowances, you should be good. It'll fit perfect. Nice. Okay, let me go thread Thor and we'll finish it up. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna start in the back, on the sides, kind of on the side. There we go. Ooh, I gotta hold my threads better. And I am gonna pull my thread to the inside rather than back stitch. Just making sure my D-ring is down in there. Perfect. All right, first I want to make sure I caught everything. Yep. All right, now the last thing we have to do is put our other part of our thumb lock on. So let me grab my pieces. All right, here we are. The mini Mallory. So cute. So it's a fairly simple bag. I did go ahead and add my thin thumb lock, slim thumb lock. So you open it up, you have 3 card slots here, or you could use it for business cards or whatever you'd like. And then you have plenty of room inside. She ordered a little zipper pouch, so that's what's inside. And then the nice thing is back here is a big pocket. Plenty of room for the big phones today. Now I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max, so it fits in there perfectly. And then the double-sided strap with a little extension on it. Very, very nice. The Mallory. I even forget who makes this pattern. I'm so sorry. I don't remember. The Mallory. Thanks for watching.